everybody, and welcome back to Pulpit of the Last Days. In our previous videos, we saw that the end-time church will divide into two distinct mindsets or schools of thought. Jesus himself spoke of these in Matthew 25 when he said that the kingdom of heaven would be like 10 virgins, 5 of them wise and 5 of them foolish. Now, of course, the true followers of Jesus are among the wise virgins. As we saw in our previous videos, they look for Jesus in all their doctrines and all of their beliefs, because for them it is all about knowing Jesus, about building that relationship, and about being found in him at his return. So in this video, we're going to peel back the cover on the other side of the end-time church and start to look at their beliefs. And we're doing this so that you can recognize them when you see them, so you can learn to avoid their errors, and hopefully so that you can help some of your friends who have innocently gone down that path and be a part of seeing them recovered. As we've discussed, the bad side of the end-time church will rise first and will get a huge head start. The scriptures foretell a Christian counterfeit religion that will infiltrate the church and deceive many. It will wax strong in numbers, unchallenged for a long time. When the other side of the end-time church begins to rise, it will begin to fall back down as this side grows. But even at the very end, it will still strike a parity. It will still have an influence over half the kingdom. Now, some of these Christians, all of them on this side, they still consider themselves Christians. Some of them consider themselves zealous. But in key ways, they've actually started to form a different religion. Or as Paul would refer to it, a different one which is not another, a troubling perversion of the faith. That's found in Galatians chapter 1. You should probably look that up. To explain the perilous side of the church, let's begin by exploring the basic structure of a religion, any religion, using a three-part model, and we'll make our comparisons from there. All religions have 3 basic points in common. They have a god or gods that they worship, a basis of wisdom which tells them about their god, and a mediator or some form of clergy who guides them in their relationship with their god. Let's take Christianity as our most familiar example and return to our model. Our God is God. The basis of wisdom that tells us about God is the Bible. The mediator between God and man is the man Jesus Christ, 1 Timothy 2:5. We also have pastors, teachers, and other clergy to help guide us, but not to mediate for us. Jesus alone does that. Another familiar example is Judaism. Their God is also God. Their basis of wisdom, which tells them about God, is the Old Testament and other Jewish writings. They are guided by a 2-part system of prophet and priest, and various teachers play a further role in guiding them, rabbis, scribes, etc. Now let's try a much simpler example, such as an ancient tribal religion. They may worship the sun, the moon, the stars, or maybe a sacred mountain or some other aspect of nature. To them, that's their God. Their basis of wisdom, which tells them about their God, may be myth, superstition, or folklore, but it's still vital to them that they should know it. And their mediator or guide may be a shaman, a witch doctor, or a medicine man, but it all stacks up under the same 3-part model. By your patience, one more example. Some cultures have ancestral worship. They deify their ancestors as gods. Their family history is the basis of wisdom, which tells them about their gods. And their guide may be a patriarch or a matriarch, who is the oldest living member of their family. Now that we have our model in place, we can apply that to the perilous side of the end-time church and learn some more about them. First, they will modify their perception of God himself into something that is like him, but not. You'll see a little bit more of what I mean by that in a couple of minutes. Second, they will create a whole new realm of wisdom which teaches them about their version of God. Third, a whole new caste of clergy will rise to school them in their new beliefs and sometimes even to mediate for them. Now, all of this was foretold in Scripture, but bear in mind that they will have a form of godliness. This will still be presented under a Christian-like model, like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Beneath that veneer, whatever focus they had on Jesus is beginning to wane. Like the lanterns of the 5 foolish virgins, they will spark for a moment, but then they'll have to say, our lamps are going out. That place in their heart is being replaced by their new beliefs. But for now at least, while there is still time, there is still hope for their recovery. Now let's identify the modified version of God, as it will appear on the perilous side of the church. Now this can be easily seen through their mindset, which I'm very sorry to say, but you really just can't miss it. Paul explains it this way. But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come. For men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying its power. And from such people turn away. Now, Paul has given us a long list, but the first and the last items on that list form a set of parameters that perfectly identifies the deity of the perilous side of the end-time church. For men will be lovers of themselves, ... rather than lovers of God. Self is the true deity of the perilous side of the end-time church. And everything else on that list fits perfectly between those two parameters. They are all self-centered traits. They're all about self and not about Christ. You would never see Jesus doing any of the things on that list. And when they have put anything, including themselves, into the place that belongs to God, then for all practical purposes, that has become their God. Now here's a way you can test yourself to see where you stand on this. Take a broad audit of some of the sermons you've been listening to lately and try to discern them by their actual nature. And here's what I mean by that. Take those sermons and strip them down to their bullet points. And using those bullet points, see what is the actual structure and what is the actual goals that this sermon is presenting to me. If it's pointing to Jesus, then you're on the right side of the end-time church. But if it's all about me, then you're probably on the other side. It says, how can God serve me? How is he here for me? What authority has he given me to be in charge? Yeah, those are warning signs, because we're supposed to die to self, to live to Christ. So on the perilous side of the end-time church, God has been reduced to a figurehead, like a child's security blanket. Self is increasing as their reality. So beneath that security blanket, a spoiled child is growing. Now, that's the modification to the deity on the perilous side of the end-time church. God is still their God, but increasingly as a means to an end. In every practical way, it is becoming more and more about themselves. The three-part model we've been using in this video comes from Paul's observations in 2 Timothy 3 and 4, where he foretells the end-time religion in great detail. As we've seen in this video, for all practical purposes, self will be the God of the perilous church. From there, Paul describes a vast new basis of wisdom, saying they are ever learning, but never coming to the knowledge of the truth. And finally, he describes a special clergy for the same purpose, lots and lots of them. They will heap to themselves teachers according to their desires. We'll discuss all of this further in our next video when we identify the other two parts in our three-part model. Until then, think about the things that were shared today and pray about them. And remember some of the things that we shared on this earlier in this series. This will be a challenge from the adversary. It will be a genuine spiritual counterfeit, and it will be huge. It has been centuries in the making. It is very well reasoned out and convincing, and it will thoroughly infiltrate the church. As such, it will be one of the greatest challenges the church has ever faced. By the time the good side of the church begins to rise against it, it may be seen as a young upstart in the face of a well-entrenched modern orthodoxy that seems to speak with great authority. And the objection is, shouldn't this be about Jesus? So think about these things and pray about them and try to anticipate. You summon up your courage, try to anticipate where this is heading, and we'll discuss this further in our next video. I hope you enjoyed this video from Pulpit of the Last Days, short essays about the end-time church as foretold in the New Testament. If you did enjoy it, please go ahead and click on that thumbs up button. For previous videos, check out our website at pulpitofthelastdays.com. Also, we post new videos weekly, so if you'd like to receive more videos like this one, all you need to do is subscribe.